Hello.
Mama loves her baby.
Hello.
Daddy loves her too.
Daddy loves his baby boy.
The sea man owns you, man. And the sky.
Yes. Baby boy. We just leave that as the intro.
Yes.
Yes, everybody, welcome to the Temporary Uncles podcast. It's been a while since I said I'm sorry. It's been a while since the last episode, in which it was like there would have been at least 2 episodes in between this one and the last one, I think.
Yes, there should have been, but due to a lack of time or...
And also a lot of school work.
Yeah,
uni work and stuff.
Both Nicholas and I are in uni, and then we've got trimesters that are finishing up
And
or
also,
have finished.
yeah, and also you have a job. And also, most of my homework consists of editing, so I don't always have time to be outside.
Yeah, but then you like this also requires editing itself. So
Exactly.
if you go and you do assessments,
Yeah.
which are editing, and then I go, hey, do you want to record something, and then you can edit it?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know how to do that, so it's not like I can go, oh, hey Nick, why don't I edit it this
Yeah,
time? Because I don't.
Well, I'm the one with the editing software.
Yeah,
You have a recording software that would be a bitch to edit this podcast in.
Audacity is oddly, it's only really good for edits, because when I record things like nicely, I use Pro Tools first, but because Pro Tools is so untrustworthy and has a tendency to shit itself,
Yeah.
if we recorded, a 45-minute plus episode of anything, and it broke in the middle of it,
Yeah.
you lose all of that
Like
immediately.
I wouldn't use Audition to record this either. I'd only use Audition to edit the actual audio, not actually editing the like, in the sense of cutting bits out and all that stuff. I use Premiere for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, having discussed the technical limitations of this podcast.
Yes, welcome to the Technical Uncles podcast.
Welcome to the budget-free podcast.
Well, I wouldn't say budget free. You bought a new microphone.
Yeah, so
It's a very nice microphone. And the microphone wasn't the issue with the shit quality of the last episode. It was actually the fact that we didn't record with the microphone. We thought we were recording with this very nice, very, very, very nice microphone. We thought we were recording with this very nice microphone, but it turned out we were accidentally recording with his laptop's internal microphone.
Yeah, but we tried to do an audio test and we accidentally forgot to select the USB interface that I'm using, and I went, that sounds familiar. It sounds like the same shitty quality we had last week.
Yeah.
And I thought that I'd broken the microphone. I thought, because I used it to record some like distorted guitar, and I thought, oh no, I blew it. I broke my microphone. It turns out it's fine. It still sounds excellent.
Yeah.
And it was just, I'm an idiot.
Well, we both are that we didn't decide to do an audio test beforehand anyway. Anyway, I started watching King of the Hill, and then I stopped watching King of the Hill recently.
Why?
Because I found all the episodes on YouTube, right? They were in these very nice, like, compilation things where each video had 6 episodes of King of the Hill in it.
Right.
Completely untouched by YouTube. Well, no, not really, because it was so
it
many
pitch
ads.
shifted,
There was
or...
lots of
right.
ads. But that didn't matter because I downloaded the videos. So
What's got more
it didn't
ads
change
than
anything.
like American daytime television or like that?
I don't know. I didn't actually watch it on YouTube. I downloaded the video instead. Oh. And so I would watch them on the train to and from school, right?
Right.
There'd be 3 episodes on the way in, 3 episodes on the way out. Cool. And it was perfect, right? I managed to get to the 4th video, which was halfway through season 2, before the videos were removed.
Oh.
And I didn't even get to finish season 2 before that happened.
In one go.
Yeah.
Did they have many views? Like,
yeah. They had at least 100,000 views.
Okay,
each,
so YouTube definitely knew it wasn't. Oh, a hidden gem.
Well, the thing is,
views
it didn't say King of the Hill compilation. It said cartoon series compilation episodes season 1, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. was yawning, burping halfway through that sentence.
Well, I suppose that part of the algorithm looks at the title and part of it sort of looks at the content and goes,
looks at the thumbnail.
Yeah, does this match to something that is copyrighted that we know about? And
Do I look like I know what a content ID is?
No.
Yeah.
But, what? I'll tell you what.
I like
Bobby?
that little...
But in the episode that I did see, I can say it's a pretty good show. I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Who is the main man behind King of the Hill? Like, 'cause
Mike Judge.
Mike Judge.
What
else
creator of
has
Beavis
he
and
done?
Butthead.
Oh, okay.
And he voices Beavis and Butthead, and he also voices Hank Hill. He voices actually quite a few characters. He's one of those like creators that voices like half the characters in the show.
Who is the guy that talks 1,000,000 miles a minute? Who's like...
Boomhauer.
Boomhauer.
I don't know enough about King of the Hill to make like insightful.
I now
funny
at least know the
comments.
names of the characters, and I've seen a chunk of the episodes to get what their personalities like, but I don't know how they progress as the series goes on. There's 13 seasons of the show.
My only exposure to the show was I've seen part of an episode where Bobby's talking to Hank is talking to Peggy and about how he's got a narrow urethra.
Yeah.
That's
actually
that's all I know.
it's a running joke on the series, and is that like he has a low sperm count and a narrow urethra.
Peggy, don't go telling people like that. I don't like people knowing about my privates. Knowing about my propane accessories. I sell propane and propane accessories.
What are the things that you can sell with propane?
There's a great joke where he's playing a character in Luann's little puppet show, and he's playing, I think, the theater owner, and he says, I sell popcorn and popcorn accessories, because he's completely improvising the role, and it's just really funny.
He looked within, he went, what do I know really well? How can I embody this other character with the attributes of me?
I'll sell this thing and the things associated with it.
Yeah.
I have an IQ of 85. One standard deviation below
the thing
standard.
Is, I think the thing about the show is it's both celebrating and making fun of the American redneck. Because like you're obviously supposed to identify with the main character because he's the main character, but you're also not supposed to really, because he's not always right. Most of the time he's presented as the guy who knows all, but there are points in the show where he's like, no, he's actually a bit of a conservative, you know, like his views aren't always correct, but he's not an asshole.
Correct.
Like,
he doesn't believe boys should have long hair and that like the women should be this and that, men should be this and that.
Yeah.
Like very conservative, but he's not an asshole. He's not like he doesn't he likes women to be empowered and strong, but he doesn't think that they should be leaders of the army. You know, that kind of thing. I like what I like, and that's it. That's the
pretty
way
much
it is.
Yeah.
It's well, you know how you've got like a grandparent or something, and you love them because you know that they're a caring person and they've taken care of you, but they talk about the coloured folk in a weird way.
Well, see, he's just ignorant. He's not an idiot. For example, they have an Asian neighbor who moves in a bit into season 1, right?
Asian, what's that?
Yeah, and he's like, "Are you Chinese or Japanese?" And then he says, "I'm Laotian," but he's like, "So are you Chinese or Japanese?" Anyway,
that's
King of the Hill for you.
I think
I would love to like complete the series. It's a show I want to continue watching, but I don't have any way to continue watching it.
Unless you spend money. Yes. They should put it on the Netflix. Yes.
So I think
I'd watch it if they put it on Netflix.
Yeah, of course you would.
Yeah.
Of course you would. You would watch all of it.
Yeah.
You'd watch it now.
I'd binge it.
You'd be somewhere else watching it instead of here.
Yeah. Well, I'm basically on holidays at the moment, so I'm gonna binge a few TV series.
Do it.
I borrowed, I think, 10 movies from the RMIT library as well.
That's you've got a big appetite for the film and whatnot.
Yes.
But
I've got specific series I am watching though. I'm not gonna just find a show that I have no idea about and watch it.
Oh, Kissing Booth. That looks good.
I've recorded I've had this on my Foxtel list for a while. I've recorded season 1 of Legion, and I really need to watch that because I watched the first 2 episodes on the plane ride from Canada, and I really liked it, and I want to continue the series. And there's a second season that I need to watch too. So.
Okay.
It's a series set in the X-Men universe.
Right.
So it's really good and really trippy. It looks great because the main guy's got mind powers, so they they're trying to go full like
some like psychokinesis stuff, or like Emma Frost read your mind shit.
Bit of both. I'm not entirely sure how his powers work. I only watched 2 episodes, so
I knew just enough to like ask you questions about that. I'm like, I've seen the cartoon.
Well, his character in the comics is, I think, either a cousin or a half brother or some relation to Professor X.
Right.
So yeah, I think he's more closely related to Professor X than Juggernaut is, though.
Oh, is Juggernaut?
Juggernaut is Professor X's half brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But Patrick Stewart's like 40 years older than the guy that plays Juggernaut.
Well, in the comics, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And also the guy who plays Juggernaut in the original movies. I don't think they really took into account Juggernaut's relation to Professor X in X-Men 3. But in the newest X-Men movie with Juggernaut in it, that I won't say what it is, they do make reference to their relation. Of course, most people who would know what the reference I'm talking about is have seen the movie. Anyway.
And oddly enough, also, like, Magneto is played by a British person, but Magneto is, like, Polish, so...
Yeah, he's currently played by an Irish man. Michael Fassbender's Irish.
Yes, I was thinking, who? But yeah, Michael Fassbender.
He's like half Irish, half German, I think.
He's got a super German name.
He's got a super good voice. He's a great actor. He's very good in the X-Men movies. He's the highlight of like his X-Men Apocalypse. While not the best movie, is still pretty fun and enjoyable. But the Magneto parts of that movie are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used the German 3. Or rather, he didn't use the German 3.
Okay, speaking of Inglourious Basterds,
Dreiglaser.
I did watch another movie with Diane Kruger in it as a German person. So
okay,
cool.
so was she a
you know what's funny is that
Inglourious
Basterds is actually her first movie where she actually speaks German.
Really? So she speaks English in her other films?
Most of the films that she's been in, she speaks English or French.
Really?
Yeah.
And so are they German films made for
No,
Germans?
most of them are French films.
Oh, really?
So she's been in a lot of French films because she started off her career as a model rather than an actress. So she was more of a recent actress. Her first American movie was National Treasure. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where she plays a German character in that movie, but she doesn't speak German.
Right. She plays an English speaking. I'm
because she's in America, so yeah.
Yeah, we should go to the treasure. Where actually she speaks like proper English. It's like,
the thing is. So the movie we watched in screenwriting class was another German film. Well, it's a Turkish film, but it's set in Germany with German actors and stuff. Because the director of the film is Turkish.
Okay.
But the movie itself is like German Turkish. Because it's about a woman who she's gotten married to a former drug dealer who's gone straight. He's a perfect citizen now, and then she like drops her son off at her dad's workplace while she goes out, right? And then the workplace gets bombed.
Oh.
And her son and her husband die. And basically the movie's about her getting revenge on the people who did it.
Okay.
And it's really good. But it's I don't know, I just thought I'd give that a recommendation for anyone want to watch a sad movie, but also really satisfying. Well, until the very end. But I won't tell you what it is.
I'm thinking
it's a very good movie. It's called In the Fade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that if you get...
But as you were saying, her accent, her English accent, when she speaks English in the movie, she sounds pretty much American.
Well, yeah, I imagine that she can put on like a, "Hi, I'm Diane."
Even though her character's German in the movie, but when she speaks English at one point in the movie, she's got like a almost American accent.
Yeah, I'd be thinking that if you got an actor like, for example, Christoph Waltz, and you're like, okay, we want you to play a German, and you got him to be like, "Aha, I'm a commander." I feel that people would be like, great, he's playing a he's playing a character. But if you got, say, like, you got an Asian actor whose first language is probably English, and instead of him being like, "Oh yeah, hi, I'm Steve," you were like, "Oh, hello." I think people would probably be more upset at the latter.
Well, it's like Randall Park, for example. Like, he is actually American born, his first language is English, but he's always cast as Asian guy, you know? He was Kim Jong-un in The Interview, so, you know. Whereas his roots are actually of Korean descent, obviously, which is fine. So, I mean, his last name is Park, which is a Korean. surname.
Is it P-A-A-K?
Or a Korean name,
like
I
Anderson
mean.
Park?
Park, as in P-A-R-K, yeah.
Like P-A-R-K, right.
Yeah. Christoph Waltz is a German-Austrian actor.
Aha! You English pig?
Is
I
that
think
your
that-
German accent?
It's like my COD German accent. It's like a, what is he like?
Alright then.
It's like play it up to the point where, but I feel that people will be like, aha, it's a funny
Funny
impression.
German man,
It's
yes. Aha, yes.
But it,
The audience can't see the arm movements
I
that
can't
you're
see
doing.
the
fucking chicken dance that you're doing.
It's
Come to the Schnitzelhausen, we have many beers.
it'd be if you did that, but then if you get like a quote unquote non-accented
What are we
foreign
talking
person
about?
to be like,
Oh, you come, you eat the pig head.
Yeah.
they'd be like,
Well,
yeah, you can't
mean,
do that.
You mean just like
Yeah.
every fucking German villain or Russian villain in the earlier days of like Bond movies, always
I
played
think-
by English or American
Yeah, I
actors.
think people would be okay with that, but then if
Yeah.
you did another national, perhaps an Asian nationality, and get them to play up like I think people would be upset by that.
I think if the Asian actor's fine with doing it, then there shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think
For
that the actor
example,
would.
Pai
because-
Mei
yeah.
in Kill Bill is obviously like a very stereotypical kind of character, but Gordon Liu was perfectly fine with playing it, so it's just fine.
No, I think that the
I'll do
actors
that.
themselves would be fine because
Yeah.
they're getting work, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've got a niche and I can do this. They're not going to get like. They're not going to do like a Mickey Rooney and get
Yeah.
him to
Oh, God.
to you disrespect me. I
Yeah.
don't think they'll do that. But
Or
I think that
Peter
people would
Sellers
be.
in The Party.
Yeah, I don't think that. I
Although
think,
what's funny is that that's one of the instances of brown faces is actually still people are just like, it's funny, I don't care.
Well, the
even
thing- yeah.
but even like brown people today, they don't really give a shit about Peter Sellers' movie because it's funny.
Oh yeah, in that case, it's both that it is genuinely funny, and also I don't think that the comedy there is based around him being Indian.
I think the only joke I can think of where like it's the joke is he's Indian is when he's going birdie num num. Have you seen the movie?
I've
Yeah.
definitely seen it a couple times,
Yeah.
but really late at night and when I was younger.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
I-
the only jokes I think that come into play is when he's playing with the PA system, and the only reason it's funny is because of his Indian accent. You know?
I think that Peter Sellers did he write the film?
I don't think so.
Because
He might have.
I think that whoever wrote it just felt we need someone who's reserved, who's uncomfortable. So we have this sort of this Hollywood party atmosphere, and so they put someone who's a little conservative and from a different culture in there, and they go, all right, well, who can play this character well? And they got Peter Sellers because they could have got an Indian guy to do it who may have done a disservice to it. But if we've gone, okay, well, if we just make it, if we keep to our original vision, but we give it to Peter Sellers, can we do this?
I mean, Peter Sellers is like you can't go wrong with Peter Sellers.
I mean, yeah, he was a great actor.
He was phenomenally hilarious. So
Apparently, he was like a dick to work with, but he's excellent.
yeah, he was a hilarious actor, right? So like getting him to play a brown man, Indian man, it's like if you got any other actor, it probably wouldn't have been done as well.
No, probably not. I imagine that it would probably be played up further. They would probably do the Indian element a disservice by going, "Oh, it's an Indian, you see." Oh, gobby bobby boo. Yeah.
Starts like wiggling his
Oh,
head like
yes.
this. Hello.
Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good day. This section of the podcast which was about The Simpsons was cut because we didn't like it. But it segues into the next bit, which I will now return you to.
Well, I think that The Simpsons, they tend to attack ideas more than
Yeah.
they attack people. So it's more so they go, "Oh, we'll make fun of the."
And the thing is, they don't do it right because they can't go full force like something like South Park can. So even when they try to insult something, it just comes off as not actually making it. It comes off as the little kid trying to be edgy by making fun of something that's popular.
Sometimes it's
You
like
know?
when you have like if your dad walked in and like dabbed at you. It would be like
Yeah.
you go,
And like
I
a
see
mixture.
what you're trying to
it's
do.
like, yeah, half the
Yeah.
jokes are that, and then half the jokes are the edgy 12-year-old, you know, who thinks he's being like, anti-establishment or whatever, but he's
Yeah.
actually just being quote unquote edgy. You know,
Well, you're just the man. I'm an anti-crypto fascist, and I'm here to take down the establishment.
It's like when you're a teenager and you discover Fight Club and you're like, oh my god, this is the smartest movie I've ever seen. And while Fight Club is a phenomenal movie, it attracts a lot of pseudo anarchists and edgy 12-year-olds.
This is what George Orwell talked about.
Or like
in
V for
1984.
Vendetta as well.
Yeah,
V for Vendetta, a phenomenal film, but attracts a lot of that audience, you know?
Yeah, well, the government is actually out to get you because they have societally conditioned you to think the way that you do. And everyone is a slave to their preconceptions, and you need to unlearn your biases, man.
Yeah. Even though, I mean, preconception is a thing that plagues our society, but that kind of... But
the idea that no one actually can think for themselves is probably a little bit blown out, and the idea is like
it's blown out.
Don't have
like,
any,
I mean,
have any thoughts.
It is hard in this day and age for like. It is hard to come up with your own complete opinion when you've been fed millions of other people's opinions. It is like sometimes I'm not saying it's always hard to do that, because obviously if you have your opinion, you go like, oh, genuinely I think this is good, then you'll be like, oh, okay. Some people don't. I don't care. Yeah. But some people would go, oh, some people don't like this thing that I like. I don't like it anymore. Or, you know, this... But, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes that happens.
Well, there's lots of effects
well,
that you
one
can
thing
look
that...
at,
Like, I think something that's a very hard... criticism is just something that's hard to talk about in general because there's so many different factors that go into it. But I think one thing that is harmful for... for modern criticism is things like cinema sins.
Oh yeah.
Things that are, one, negative for negativity's sake. Two, don't care that they're wrong.
Yeah.
When they it's been proven time and time again that cinema sins doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like they'll sometimes purposefully get facts about the movie they're quote unquote reviewing.
Yeah.
Or
and they'll
I
misrepresent them for the
they
jokes.
will misrepresent the movie and also misrepresent movie criticism, because while they consider themselves satire, despite the fact that they don't know what satire means, they consider what they make a joke, which is perfectly fine, but they don't make it obvious. They don't... and that's the harmful thing, is that it kind of ruins the joke to tell people that this is a joke, but it also ruins the joke to make it so bad and badly represented that people think what you're saying is like genuine film criticism.
Yeah.
And so cinema sins, they can be like, I've seen my fair share of like videos taking things that CinemaSins have said and then going like so there are plenty of videos on YouTube that I think are funnier than CinemaSins. It's like everything wrong with insert movie here. But every now and then CinemaSins come up with a pretty funny joke. Right?
Well, yeah, I think
when it's obviously a joke, it's fine. But the thing is, every single comment they make about a movie counts towards the sin counter. They make a joke, counts to the sin counter. They make a unfunny observation, counts to the sin counter. They state a fact about the movie, counts to the sin counter. So not everything...
Every comment that they make, they add to the counter, as opposed to going, okay, here is a comment, and here is something that the movie did wrong. I'm adding it to it.
And even then, they don't always point out things that the movie did wrong. For example, if they did a video on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and that movie actually has a point where you can see a fucking cameraman in the background. Right? But yet they didn't point that out. They completely glossed over that.
Because they're looking at more surface level shit that is... Okay, well, before you get too far ahead...
surface level... Exactly, because they will cut out a point in the movie that actually contradicts what they say. Because they're trying to pump out these fucking 20-minute videos, nitpicking movies that aren't even that bad.
Yeah.
And making up nitpicks as well about said movies.
But before you get too far ahead, the CinemaSins is a really interesting example that you bring up, because when you go, all right, part of the whole thing is it's shtick, and so originally when they started, apparently they were more consistent with their reviews. And
their older videos are much less negative.
Yeah, so when you've built up a shtick around that, and then you evolve it to a point of ridiculousness, and obviously for the purpose of entertainment, it can be difficult to get out of that, because if they changed now, that it would be it would be a shock to the audience. And
Well,
so
if anything, it'd be a surprise, but a welcome one.
it would be
a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Because like it'd be a very welcome surprise because then their content would be improved.
Yes, and also the idea of going, well, it's for entertainment. Not only are they having to try to get out a certain amount of content, and that is difficult, and so you'll see a drop in quality. With the audience having to know what is and is not a joke, so you can have intentional misrepresentations of fact for the point of humor, where someone will say something wrong on purpose because the shtick is about being overly negative.
Yeah.
People that don't get it or aren't in on it will be upset, and people that are expecting a serious review will be upset. And either way, you'll get
anyone
people,
goes into Cinema Sins expecting a serious review.
No.
But people, and it's hard to actually convey what your channel is about when you've got 7 million fucking subscribers. But like, there are loads upon millions of people who go to their videos as a way of deciding whether or not they want to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Or as a way of deciding whether or not this is a good or bad movie.
Yeah.
You know? And that is harmful for film criticism. Something like Mystery Science Theater 3000, that is completely harmless to film criticism because it's obviously a joke and they're just kind of having fun. Whereas Cinema Sins is negativity for negativity's sake. They're not even trying to be, like, go on out and say, like, something funny, and then they don't count it. They just go like, this is wrong. We think this is wrong, even though it's not.
Because the premise is meant to point out inconsistencies within a film, and you go, I don't want to watch a film with 1,000 inconsistencies in it, so therefore I won't see it. But yeah, you then have to go, are the audience that are going there... Is Cinema Sins responsible for the audience's understanding of their material? Do they have to cater for idiots who will go, oh, well, Cinema Sins said it was bad, so therefore it is bad?
Yeah, exactly.
Do they need to cater for that? Or can they produce content which is intentionally mindless?
I think the point is Cinema Sins have pretty much just driven themselves into the ground. The concept of Cinema Sins is, I think, something that would have maybe been really funny if they had if they didn't upload 10 plus minute videos a week.
Yeah.
And if maybe they did it for select movies, right? If they did it for actual bad movies. The first video they did it on was Amazing Spider-Man 2, notoriously a bad movie. But then they decided to do more and more videos and doing it for all the popular movies as well, not just bad movies. They did one for fucking Citizen Kane. Yeah. So, you've gone past the point of no return when you do a Cinema Sins video on fucking Citizen Kane.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about critique is maybe it would be funnier if all the critiques that they made were valid, if you sort of went, it really is bad.
Or if they had gone back to making 5-minute videos that actually, one, pointed out things that were wrong with the movie and also kept all the good jokes.
Yeah.
You know? Instead of pretty much what they've done is the new Cinema Sins videos is Cinema Sins uncut. They've kept every single joke and every single observation that they can think of and didn't whittle it down to the best of the best. You know?
Well, they've taken a YouTube career as precedence over the comedy.
Yeah.
So that instead of going,
their channel is entirely quantity over quality.
Yeah.
You know? And it'd be fine if maybe their actual like content reflected that they weren't actually criticisms, but they haven't changed. So yeah, I highly recommend everyone check out the videos by Bob's Vids. That he's got a series called Everything Wrong with Everything Wrong with.
I have a feeling I've seen him. Yeah.
And he also has a video called Sustaining Stupidity: Why Cinema Sins is Terrible, which is, I mean, slightly clickbaity title, but it is a very good video.
I would also like to mention Cinema Wins as a great YouTube channel.
I think a lot of this anti-Cinema Sins things that are becoming more and more popular recently definitely started with when Jordan Vogt Roberts went on his Twitter rant about Cinema Sins when they critiqued his movie Kong Skull Island. They did a video on his movie, and so he went off every single thing that they got wrong. He would point out on Twitter. He did like this full Twitter rant about everything they got wrong about his movie. And he also continued the rant in saying like why Cinema Sins is bad.
I mean, yeah, for as like a film as a product at large, because a lot of it is about publicity and about advertising, if you create an air about a product being bad, that can affect the bottom line of the film.
Yeah.
And CinemaSins being, how many subscribers have they got?
Over 7 million.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of people tuning in, and as you mentioned, some people do inform their film choice upon their film. So if they bring out a really unfavorable, misrepresentative video about a film, that can have wide-reaching consequences for the filmmaker.
Or even then, if they point out something that isn't actually wrong with the movie, someone will then watch the movie and think, oh, yeah, that is wrong.
Yeah.
Or, hope better, someone will watch the movie and go, oh, CinemaSins didn't... They got wrong.
Should someone have enough critical thinking skills to go, maybe CinemaSins is wrong, I will watch this film to see if they are, and then go against the opinion that they went into the film with? Because people have a tendency to anchor their attitude. So,
well, people tend to just, and this is a thing that I've got a lot of experience with being a fan of DC movies or DC in general.
Yeah.
Like being a lot of people tend to just hop on whatever the popular opinion is.
They will hear an opinion and they
people
will
will
use
just
that,
immediately bash DC without even having seen the movie because everyone else does.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of people like bashing Batman v Superman, which is a movie that I adore, and going like bashing it on the Martha scene, the infamous Martha scene, right? Or other scenes of like Superman not caring. It doesn't help that the movie that they released in cinemas was not the correct version of the movie.
Yeah.
So in and of itself, a misrepresentation of the actual film. But then also the fact that movie, one, got so many bad reviews that a lot of people just decided to hop on the bandwagon and hate on the movie. And I mean, a lot of people do genuinely not like that movie, which is perfectly fine.
Yes.
But people who base their opinion on reviews, base their opinion on preconceptions of the movie as well. A lot of people tended to just go into this movie and hate it because they already had this idea of what Batman and Superman are.
Yeah,
you know? Which is why I think that Shazam will probably be very safe from that, because the general audience have no idea who Shazam is, or at least they have a very small idea of who Shazam is. Whereas everyone knows who Superman and Batman are, right? And a lot of people know who Wonder Woman is. Yeah. So already having those preconceptions can ruin your opinion of a movie. I tend to like going into a movie without any opinion. Even the Emoji Movie.
Yes.
Even the Emoji Movie, I went in with an open mind, going like, oh, I know that everyone hates this movie. I've seen plenty of bits and pieces of the movie that I think are bad, but I'm still going to go into this movie with an open mind because who knows, it might surprise me.
Of course. Well, I was curious as to how it was.
Of course, I hated the movie.
Yeah, because it was terrible.
It was awfully written. The worst thing about that movie is the fact that it looks really nice.
Yes. Like, you think there's potential. There are people on here who are competent and could do a good job, but there are so many other people behind it that were also bad.
The actual character design is not very good, but the way the movie looks, like especially the backgrounds and stuff, it's very pretty. But the character design, like, is awful. I feel like it would have been better if they didn't have these big bulging eyes and they had like actual, like the eyes of an actual emoji in your phone.
Possibly, yeah.
Just like the dots.
Yeah.
They might have looked less.
Well, people tend to like things with larger facial features because it's infant-like.
Actually, if anything, that's just kind of what animated movies look like.
Yeah, and that's why animation has sort of its charm, yeah.
Well, no, that just tends to be what most 3D animated movies look like. They pretty much all have the same eyes.
Yeah, but
if you think about it.
See, if people tried to draw a realistic human being, the closer
I'm saying when you get the
emojis
movie had the chance to not do that thing with the eyes. They could have gone with what emojis actually look like and have the little dots for eyes.
I'm just seeing it,
and I reckon the character probably wouldn't have looked as creepy.
Well, I'm seeing it in my
Gene might have even looked
a
little bit more friendly if he had that. But also, there's incredible inconsistencies with the rules of the movie.
Yeah.
Why are emojis and apps sentient? Why is the phone sentient? Why, if an app is deleted, then why are these characters like crying for help and stuff? The sentience of the phone is the biggest thing that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Why are there more than one? Like, why are there 3 meh emojis? There's 2 mess that met and had a kid. Yeah. Right?
There isn't really good reason for why there is a child of the meh. Because they could...
And also, why does he have that malfunction, too? Where did that malfunction come from?
It's a glitch. It's about everyone's an individual.
Oh, God. And the one movie to to try and make a statement about individualism.
Yeah.
The
About
emoji
going your
movie.
own way.
The thing is, an emoji is literally an image file that the sole purpose of which is to convey an emotion.
It's
One
not even
singular
not even an image
emotion.
file. It's like a Unicode thing. It's part
Yeah,
of a font.
even then, yeah.
So you can delete an app and you can still have all the emojis because it's part of the font that is in the OS of the thing.
It's literally just a small face that is designed to convey one singular emotion.
Yeah.
Right? And yet they decided to use this concept as a way of conveying the concept of individualism and feminism.
Look, the Emoji Movie was dumb, alright?
Yeah.
But when you were talking about people going in...
Yeah, I just wanted to go on that little rant about the
it was
Emoji Movie because
important-
I recently watched the Emoji Movie.
It was
Because my
an
brother gave
important
me a
point
copy
to
of it
make.
for my birthday.
So,
He gave me this... I just want to quickly reiterate that my brother gave me this hilarious little cover because he bootlegged the Emoji Movie. So the copy, it's on the CD he burned himself. What's hilarious about this is that the file for the Emoji Movie has subtitles. You can't take off. You can't turn off the subtitles because they're part of the video file. Jesus. Which is funny in and of itself, but also the cover he made was just really funny. I'll post them to the Temporary Uncle's Twitter later when the episode comes out, just because I find it funny. Anyway, you go on.
With you're talking about people going in with preconceptions and attitudes and taking other people's attitudes and going. So when people came and said, "Batman v Superman sucks" or "Batman v Superman will suck,"
Yeah.
What tends to happen is that when people form an attitude, and so this is the assumption that people have already taken someone else's attitude.
Yeah.
What people tend to do is that even in the face of evidence that contradicts their attitude, they are more likely to scrutinize and downplay the validity of evidence that contradicts their belief, right? And that protects their sense of self because they form an attitude and they go, right, this is part of me, I believe this, and so if there is something that contradicts that, then that's an attack on me.
Yeah.
And so you can go, hey, go and see the film and see what you think. And so even when they see the film, they'll continue to go, Batman v Superman was bad. And also because there is a process of anchoring. And so even if you do change an attitude, if you have, let's say we turn it into a number. If you have an opinion of a 1 being you think that Batman v Superman sucks ass, and 10 thinking that it's fucking Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
If you have it as like a 2 and you go and you see the film and you think, oh, it's actually good, maybe you'll bring it up to to a 4 or a 5 because you want to keep it somewhat consistent with your previous attitude, or people tend to. And same with the other way, if you go and you see it and you think it's really good and there are a few things that are bad with it, you go, oh, it's not an 8, maybe it's a 7.5, maybe it's a 6. And so even if you have people that go and say Batman v Superman sucks, and they go and they see a good film and they happen to find parts of it that they enjoy, they will still come out of it going, it wasn't that good, but it was like not terrible, so you're still wrong. Fuck you.
Yeah. And it also doesn't help that what preconceptions hurt your opinion on anything, but also people are so afraid to change their opinion because they'll be seen as two-faced or they'll be seen as a flip-flopper or something. Yeah. Which also,
so they double down.
Yeah,
when
or they'll just continue with what they've already got, which also really hurts. And I don't want to get political, but it really hurted the debate, or it hurts literally any political stance that someone makes. Because if they say something that contradicts something they said 10 years ago, God forbid they change their opinion on something. We've talked about opinions and what makes opinions and people going on bandwagons and all this shit. We've talked about it at least 3 times already. I think this being either the 4th or 3rd time.
I remember very little of what we actually do.
Let's talk about let's talk about the stuff I actually have written down to talk about. Taika Waititi's upcoming movie.
What's he doing?
He's doing a World War II movie.
Okay,
it's not a comedy, but it's just like a satire.
All right.
And he's playing Hitler.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, is there a plot? Is it just like Taika?
We don't know what the plot is to be put at the moment. I think it's based on a book called Jojo Rabbit. So.
Is Taika Waititi a Kiwi? Because that sounds like a Kiwi.
He's Maori, yeah.
And he's gonna play Hitler.
Yeah. Well, he said, what better insult to Hitler than having him being played by a Polynesian Jew? So.
Why don't we just kill the Jews, eh? Kill the Jews.
Well,
But
yeah. See, I think it's supposed to maybe like Tarantino-esque comedy in that it's not necessarily a comedy, but it's a movie with lots of dark, humorous moments in it. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's a serious film with jokes in it.
Yeah.
Like Inglourious Bastards, to bring that up again. Like,
Yeah.
For the most part, it's about a squadron who go and hunt down Nazis.
Well, that's one of the 3 plot lines.
Yeah, but it's also got like humorous elements in it.
Yeah. Well, most Tarantino movies are like that. I like gather to call Inglourious Bastards a dark comedy, you know? But it's not, because it's got it's not there's not enough balance. There's more seriousness to the movie than there is comedic.
Like the opening scene is very menacing, and
Yeah.
like there's a shootout in a bar.
But also
and
the
there's-
fact that like my pipe is bigger than yours is a bit of comedic.
yeah,
as
but
well, you know?
but like that's a bingo, and like
yeah, exactly.
Margarete, like that's.
Antonio Margarete. Oh, that whole Italian accent section is hilarious.
Let me hear the music in the language.
Arrivederci.
One more time.
Buongiorno.
Arrivederci.
Grazie. That's what he says. I find it funny that he's the character who's said that he knows the most Italian. And the other guys they look Italian and they can do an accent.
They're just
Antonio Margarete. Dominic De Coco.
He's trying to get over it immediately. He's like, I don't
Eli
want him
Roth
to hear.
is hilarious in that scene. The Antonio Margarete.
Margarete. It channels it through his nose. It's a nasal performance.
You know, Antonio Margarete is a real person, right?
Really? What did he do?
He's a filmmaker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? Did he,
Italian
like, spaghetti
filmmaker in
western?
bloody that area.
Oh, yeah.
Spaghetti westerns, that's the 50s and 60s and 70s, my boy.
Yeah.
Not the 40s or the 30s.
Oh, you meant like
Antonio Margarete was a filmmaker in that era.
Oh, in the era of the film.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So Eli Roth's character, I think Donnie Donowitz or something.
Sergeant Donnie Donowitz.
Yeah, that
the
character is
Bear
actually
Jew.
he's just impersonating an actual Italian filmmaker in the era.
Is that how he sounds?
I wouldn't know.
I interrupt again to point out that Antonio Margheriti was a filmmaker, but not during World War II. It's just reference made by Tarantino, rather than an impersonation of the real Margheriti.
How do you know it's an impersonation?
Because it's a real person. That's
Well,
why.
You use
Because
his
no,
name.
that's what the character's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like someone involved in film.
It'd be like,
So
so he's turning up to the premiere as
Antonio Margarete.
okay, alright,
Yeah.
so like if we had a scene where there was like that there was a film premiere and we were coming
Yeah.
in disguise and I turned up and I was like, hi, I'm Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, no one would believe you.
They're like, you're like 55 years too young.
Yeah.
You'd
pass off more as a... I don't know. Who's someone famous of your age?
I don't know.
Who's a famous Jew in your age?
I'd like James Franco.
He's like 40...
I thought he was. I thought he was in like his early 30s.
No.
Is there anyone? That's
Jared
like
Leto is
20
also
and,
like
doing
40
stuff?
something. Jaden Smith, he's my age.
Yeah, I can't be Jaden Smith.
No,
alright?
you can't.
I can't
you're white.
screw it as well as him.
White face over here. You're not deep enough
Hi, I'm
Jaden
George
Smith.
Jeff.
Speaking of, I can't remember if I talked about this in the last episode of the podcast, but I watched Neo Yokio.
What is that?
Speaking of Jaden Smith, it's an anime starring Jaden Smith.
Like, is it made by Japanese people?
It's made by a Japanese studio, but it's animated by a Japanese studio, but it's written by Americans.
Right.
Written and directed by Americans, so it's like a mixture of the two.
Do you think people would consider that an anime?
I'd consider it an anime because it's animated in Japan.
In Japan?
I was about to say animated in Japanese, and I stopped myself.
It is in the Japan.
Yes, it's technically a Japanese animation, but like in American production.
Okay.
Not the first time this has happened. There's been other times when, like Japanese shows have been produced by American studios. So.
When and if people watch it in Japan, is it subbed or dubbed in?
I would probably think it'd be dubbed in Japanese. The thing about Neo Yokio is it's such a weird show. It feels like they've redubbed an anime.
Okay.
like an abridged series or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a surreal show, and I feel like it would be more at home on Adult Swim than on Netflix. And I feel like maybe more people would have liked it. They would have like got the joke.
Is it meant to be funny?
It's meant to be funny.
Okay,
but,
well in that case, yeah.
You should have heard how hard my brother and I were laughing when Stephen Fry yelled out, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Stephen Fry's in it?
Stephen Fry's in one episode.
That makes
yeah.
me want to watch it.
And Richard Ayoade plays like multiple voice, like just additional voices throughout the series.
Okay.
Like he just has his voice around the series.
Who's writing on this show? Anyone that we know?
One of he's like Ezra Koenig. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's like a musician. He's worked with Jaden Smith a few times. I think he actually worked on Sire. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that sounds good.
It's like a funny. It's even if you don't like think it's well written, it's still fun to watch. Like it's entertaining. If you think it's bad, it's so bad it's good kind of entertaining.
Is it like intentionally?
I think it's intentionally supposed to be goofy and like not make any sense. Like the whole point of the show is it's like a kind of satire on. So it's like a double satire. It's a satire, like the show itself is a satire on the bourgeoisie and like upper class and making fun of them.
Yeah.
But then it is also making fun of like anime tropes and like just so many things that happen throughout the show are just like references to other anime.
So it's not just like an American show with an anime sheen. It's like it's meant to be like a
parody
proper,
of anime. Yeah.
It's meant to be like if you are a watcher of anime and appreciate it, then you will also find deeper enjoyment in this.
Yeah. I think it lends itself to being watched by people who like anime, but it also lends itself just as like a silly show on its own, you know?
Okay. Like I've seen a handful of animus in my time, only a couple, and I've liked the ones that I've seen for the most part. So I'd be open to watching it.
Yeah, and it's still funny. Like even just the fact that they got such a star-studded cast, you know, like they've got Jaden Smith as the main character. His robot butler or mecha butler, I mean, is voiced by Jude Law.
Oh jeez.
His boss or auntie is voiced by Susan Sarandon.
Okay.
His arch nemesis is voiced by Jason Schwartzman. And you've got like Richard Ayoade and fucking Peter Serafinowicz doing like just scattered voices throughout the series.
Okay.
Steve Buscemi plays a character in the last 2 episodes.
Great.
And then like Stephen Fry has a character in I think episode 3. So it's got quite the cast.
Well, that's the thing is that when you have a show that's written so well, it's only bettered and brought to life by people who are good performers.
Yeah.
But you can have the opposite where you go, oh, we've got a shit show, but we'll put like, I don't know, a big name in it and hope that it just draws attention.
What's funny is that the fact that the voice acting from most of them is really good, even if they are coming off as dubbed. Like they like sound like they're from a dubbed anime, which was the idea. But the voice acting is also pretty good in any way, except for maybe Jaden Smith, who's not the best actor. But that just kind of adds to his character.
Is it played up in like a stereotypical anime way?
Well, his character is basically monotonous throughout the whole thing.
Hi,
right?
how's it going?
No. It's like the opposite. It's the opposite.
Okay.
His character is like on the opposite end of the emotional spectrum to that. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe that she broke up with me. That kind of thing, you know?
It makes me tinkle.
The premise of the show is it's a bourgeois demon hunter.
Right.
Dealing with things like fashion, breakups, and the sort of things that upper class people deal with, you know?
Okay.
But like one of the episodes, it's one of the plot points of the episode is that his suit isn't black; it's actually really dark blue, and he has to get a new suit.
I'm sorry, you cannot enter this premises.
No. That literally is it. That's literally it. Is that people make fun of him? Like are you really going to the black tie ball in that suit? That's not black. It's dark blue. You know, it's really funny. Well, like animation wise, it is black. It's like the color that they use for the suit is black. But in the show itself, we're supposed to know that it's not a black suit.
That's a faux pas.
Yeah.
You have to understand, you cannot do this.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our plot point about Taika Waititi's next movie.
Jesus.
And we've talked about the Emoji Movie. You want to talk about some recent trailers and stuff that are out recently? Like movies that are coming out soon?
I do. I want to talk about like the weird parent one.
Mum and Dad.
I want to talk about The Parent Trap, starring Lindsay Lohan and Lindsay Lohan.
That's a movie that came out years ago.
The movie came out a while ago.
Came
I
out
don't know why you're talking
1994.
about it.
I thought it was
I don't
a
know.
little later than that.
It's old.
I thought it was like 2001 or something.
I remember like I had on my VHS tapes. I'd watch my movies and there would be ads for The Parent Trap.
Yeah.
on them.
I never watched that in its entirety.
I'd never
movie.
seen it. I just know that.
I know I've seen bits of it.
I
may have
the two different girls were two different people.
Yeah, it was done really well. At least I think the effects of having the two people. I mean, considering
4-year-old.
I mean, I think having two people in the same frame was an effect that had been mastered in like the 50s. So,
But having like the two characters interact and like.
I think in my opinion, the movie that's done it the best is Adaptation, starring Nicolas Cage. It's a movie about Charlie Kaufman writing the movie that you're watching. Like, it's a movie about writing the movie adaptation. It gets pretty mind screwy throughout. It's really entertaining though. He's trying to adapt.
Is it like the film equivalent of Your Song?
I don't know what Your Song is.
Your Song is it's a song by Elton John, and it's like a song about Bernie Taupin writing the song that he's going to write for his wife to talk about how much he appreciates her.
Okay.
and it's like that.
Well, yeah, the movie is about Charlie Kaufman, who wrote the movie.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Kaufman trying to adapt this book called The Orchid Thief, but
Any relation
he has
to Andy Kaufman?
No.
Okay.
He has absolutely no idea how to adapt this book because there's no story to it. So then he starts writing the movie about him writing the movie.
And that's the
And
film.
it's good. It's really well done. It's
So the film is about him
movie.
writing the movie about him writing the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. It gets a bit mind screwy throughout. It's really good. But then, now for some reason, Charlie Kaufman's added this character into his movie, who is his twin brother, Donald Kaufman, who doesn't exist in real life, as in our real life. But he does in the real life of this movie. And what's great is that the movie credits both of them as writing the movie, right? It's written by Charlie and Donald Kaufman. And they were both nominated for an Oscar for the writing of this movie, even though Donald Kaufman doesn't exist. It was so good.
My brother Daniel couldn't be here tonight, but I'll accept the award on our behalf.
The thing is they didn't win, which is unfortunate. I don't think there have ever been any fictional characters who have won an Oscar. There have been fictional people who have been nominated for Oscars. For example, Roderick Jaynes has been nominated for the Oscar for editing many times,
Who's that?
but he hasn't won yet. Roderick Jaynes is actually a pseudonym for the Coen brothers.
Oh, really?
They edit their own movies under the pseudonym Roderick Jaynes, but Roderick Jaynes is the one who gets the credit in the movies, so he's the one who gets the Oscar, which is great. They would obviously have to... I would love for Roderick Jaynes to win Best Editing once, just to see what happens. Who goes up and accepts the award? I just want to know.
Is that like Alan Smithy winning for Best Direction?
Yeah, but the thing is, Alan Smithy would never win for Best Direction. The whole point of Alan Smithy is that...
if someone does it, it's a bad film?
Yeah. But that was discontinued in the late 90s.
Oh, you can't do it anymore?
You can't do it anymore. Well, some people
accept
still do it, but it's not an actual thing in Hollywood anymore. If you're making a full Hollywood studio movie, you have to put your name on it.
Right. Is
Well,
there
I'm
a
sure-
legal obligation to?
Yeah, it's part of the Directors Guild have disallowed. You can't do that with Alan Smithy anymore.
Okay.
It's like the Directors Guild. If you're not part of the Directors Guild, I would assume maybe you can.
You can do what you want?
Yeah, but which is, I think, if Alan Smithy was still allowed now, I reckon they probably would have put his name on Justice League. Let's just say Alan Smithy was still something that they used regularly, like they did back in the day. It wasn't just something that happened once every 7 years. You'd see a movie by Alan Smithy. You get that for Justice League, I reckon, because the movie was directed by two guys who couldn't agree on what the movie would be.
Yeah.
Basically, like that's basically what it is.
Right.
Now I'm wondering if that's the case with Bohemian Rhapsody, because that movie's got 2 directing credits now. 'Cause
Really?
one director did half of principal photography, the other director came on and did the rest of it.
Did the first one, leave, or
I'm not sure what happened, to be perfectly honest.
they're not talking about it?
Well, I don't know if it was 50-50 of principal photography was shot by them, or if Bryan Singer did principal photography, but they did extensive reshoots with Dexter Fletcher. And now they've got it's directed by Bryan Singer and Dexter Fletcher.
I'm really worried and excited about Bohemian Rhapsody.
You watched the trailer, yeah?
Yes, I did. I've watched people
It
talk
looks
about the trailer.
really good.
Well, that's it. Like the aesthetic of the film.
Oh no,
it looks
even
like it's
like
going
the
to be...
acting looks. I just want to see. That's just a teaser though, so we can't really.
Yeah. Well, I think
we can't really
performances,
create any preconceptions about the movie from the teaser.
I think
once
the
they release a
performances will be
full
good.
trailer, then I think we'll be able to get a better idea on at least a bit more of the movie, and maybe at least a bit more of Rami Malek.
I want to at least know if the problems that Sacha Baron Cohen was talking about will still be in it. Whether they will kill Freddy off in the middle of the film. That's my main concern.
I read a thing about that, like I don't know if this is true, but I read like this clickbait article headline that said, because I didn't actually read the article, I just saw the headline, and the headline said, Bohemian Rhapsody movie will not tackle AIDS storyline or something.
Really? They won't address
Well, I'm hoping that they do.
I mean,
that's main part of the movie. At least I think it would be.
Well, it's a main part of like Queen history.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Freddie's history is Queen's history.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah. Poster was shit though.
Yeah, it's
the poster
like
they came out with.
The glasses, like, and you're like, well, how does that, like, is the Queen written?
And even the typography,
backwards?
typography looked bad, and also the photoshopping of the glasses looked bad too.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of boring.
And the tagline was just like...
They have so many, like, iconic Queen images that they could have emulated for the poster. And they didn't. They decided to just kind of do their own thing.
Like, you could have gone with, like, any song. You could take a line. You could...
And that too, with the tagline. You could have used any, like, lyric from a Queen song, and they went with... What was it? Like...
I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't even... Something forever. I don't know. It was something that doesn't exist in Queen mythology.
Yeah, because it wasn't like Who Wants to Live Forever, because that
would have been a great tagline. Who Wants to Live Forever.
There may be a Queen fan film or something that's already called that.
There was a shitty tagline in the Venom trailer. I liked the trailer. I thought it was pretty good. Bit of the dialogue was questionable, and Jenny Slate doesn't know how to pronounce symbiote. She says symbiote. The actual trailer looks pretty good. I reckon the movie's going to be pretty good. But there's a tagline in the trailer that is absolute shit.
What is it?
Embrace your inner anti-hero.
Oh,
and while that may have sounded cool when they came up with it, but I don't know. The first teaser trailer, he kept talking about how everyone has demons. It would have been great if the tagline was "Embrace your inner demons." That would have been a really cool tagline.
Embrace your demons. Embrace your dark side.
Yeah, or embrace your dark side. I reckon "Embrace your inner demons" would have been a cool tagline for a Venom movie. But no, embrace your inner anti-hero. Because that's something that people say.
It sounds like a tagline from a game from like 5 years ago.
It sounds like a tagline for an indie movie trying to emulate the success of Kick-Ass.
It's like Infamous. It's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So,
want to talk about the movie trailer for Mom and Dad?
it looks pretty nuts. Like
it looks absolutely nuts.
Like I like the cage.
I reckon it'd be fun to see. I don't know necessarily in theaters, but it would be fun to watch. I reckon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you need like a cinematic experience for this, but
Upgrade on the other hand, that looks like a good one to see in cinemas. Cinemas.
I don't see. Do you want to go much more seeing cinemas?
Let's go watch Upgrade in the cinema.
And you give me shit for making faces when I do voices.
Hey, I never gave you shit about doing faces when you do voices.
We're talking about, like,
I do faces when I do voices.
We're talking about we're talking about the Simpsons voices, and I was like, oh, some voice actors like.
Yeah, no, I just say it's funny when people do faces when they do voices. I know for a fact that I do faces when I do voices. Almost every voice actor does do faces when they do voices. That's the best thing about voice acting is trying to imagine.
Dan Castellaneta doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He's completely straight-faced when he does all of his voices. But I think that's one of the funny things about watching Oni plays, is trying to imagine what Chris's face looks like when he does these voices.
I think it would be thoroughly distracting to be in the same room as Chris O'Neill and do anything.
I don't think it'd be... you couldn't put a face cam in there. Everyone would be looking at Chris's face the whole time, because he's... And also it'd be hard because you got 3 guys, you know?
Well, because I imagine...
At least 3 guys.
The faces that Chris draws in, like, Hellbenders, I imagine that's an emulation of him and
well,
Zach.
That's also... He probably does the faces when he's drawing them as well, because I've seen those pictures of Aaron that Aaron Hansen posted pictures of his face that photos of his face that he took as reference for one of his animations, and he's just got like weird faces, and it looks so funny.
David the Bergerac.
David the Bergerac.
David the Bergerac. Diabetes.
Adult type 2 adult onset type 2 diabetes.
Diabetes.
I don't know
What
anyone
do
that
you
pronounces
get
it like
when you guzzle down sweets? Adult type 2 onset diabetes.
Eating as much as an elephant eats. Terribly fat. I think I've had enough of that. I don't like the look of it. Oompa loompa, oompa loompa, doopa dee doo.
Oh! That was a bit much.
Ow, my throat.
I was not prepared for you to take it to the next level. Gene Wilder's the fucking international treasure.
But he's dead now. What was that noise you just made?
I miss calling Gene. I used to phone him up and say.
Once again, Ben's iconic Mel Brooks impression, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Weinstone presents Mel Brooks. Hey, hey!
The Schwartz.
The Schwartz. The Schwartz.
I was gonna say something, I can't remember. You idiot! You've captured their stunt doubles!
I've had that. I've been like standing around at work, and I imagine that scene happening. You idiot! You captured their stunt doubles.
That's Mel Brooks doesn't say
No,
that.
I did. That's not my Mel Brooks.
That sounded more like Mel Brooks than your actual Mel Brooks impression.
Fuck you. You insult me, sir. Warm milk.
Ovaltine.
If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat?
Ye! Yes, ye! Stand still, laddie!
Another brick in the wall. That's what I am. That's according to Pink Floyd, I'm another brick in the wall.
Why did... Okay, so the wall is supposed to be a metaphor for society, isn't it?
Not either.
Right?
Okay.
It's supposed to be like a metaphor for like people like lack of individualism. Like you're just another brick in the wall. You know, the cog in the gears. You know, the machine of society. Like everyone's the same. You know what I mean?
In part.
That's what I think the wall is supposed to mean.
That's
why the fuck does the judge at the end want to destroy the wall? Doesn't
Okay.
Isn't he a supporter of said wall?
No, okay, well, right. That is that's one of the parts of the wall. What originally happened before the wall was written, the album Animals was released.
Yeah.
And so on that tour, Roger Waters was feeling very stifled by all this fame and shit. And so when they were playing a concert, and I think it was like Montreal or something, and there were all these people like screwing around, and he was trying to sing his song, and they were setting off fireworks, and there were these people right down the front, and he motioned for these people to come up to him, and he leant over to give him a hand and pull him up on stage, and he spat in their face. And that was the beginning of the wall. And so what he wanted
When he started writing that really bigoted rant in the middle of... Which song is it?
which...
The song was like,
Oh, yeah.
you're a queer,
Yeah, it's
something, I have all your
There's one
shot.
smoking a joint, and another with spots. If
I didn't know Mel
had
Brooks
my
was.
way.
I didn't know Mel Brooks was a member of Pink Floyd.
There's a joke.
That's a scheiße!
I shakes it.
A scheiße!
She's got shakes appeal, I tell you.
I'm yogurt!
So what happened was that Roger Waters wanted to isolate himself from everyone else because he didn't want to have anything to do with the outside world. He wanted to build a wall around himself. And so another brick in the wall, that turn of phrase is that it's another reason to block yourself away. And so the character of Pink is this incredibly sheltered but talented individual, and so when he's a kid, he's sheltered by his mother, and his mother protects him from all of the nasty things in the world, and so he's sheltered. And so when he's eventually exposed to the world, he's just hypersensitive. He cannot deal with all of the noise and the people, and so when he's an adult, he turns to drugs, and he turns into this completely this stoned out, just fucked dude, and that is in part
Doesn't he commit suicide at the end of disc 1?
Not really.
No, I thought he jumps off a building.
No, I think he like throws shit out the way.
Okay.
The
So he
lyrics,
throws something else.
Yeah,
off
the
a
lyrics
building.
go, yeah. Do you want to learn to fly? Do you want to see me try? So I think he tries to kill himself, and so there's an evocation of Sid Barrett, who had a very similar breakdown and like he had underlying mental health issues and a lot of drug use, but a lot of it was the fame and things that really drew him, pushed him away, and so. He gets, he's an adult and he ends up having a wife, and that whole relationship breaks down because he walls everyone off, and she leaves him, but he needs support, but he pushes everyone away. And so the judge and the mother and the wife are all these characters that are part of his psychosis, and they tell him to tear down the wall. It's to open up again. And so he isolates himself entirely from the world, and then he needs to bring the wall down.
Okay.
And it's in part, it's a circle, and the album, like Nonagon Infinity, as you know, where the album opens, the wall opens with we came in, and the album ends with isn't this wet? And so it's the idea is that you tear down a wall, and then you are exposed, and you have a breakdown, and then you build a wall up again, and so it's this cyclical thing, and it happens with your parents, and then your children, and their children, and then it happens with you, and so it's meant to be this cyclical,
very light-hearted and happy album.
It's a bad time.
Well, I mean, it's great though.
Oh, it's an excellent album.
The music is phenomenal.
But like, don't listen to it and then do anything.
Now, originally, I had actually planned on saying my top 17 movies of 2017 in this episode, but I don't think we have enough time, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So I'll do it in the next episode. That's something you guys can look forward to next episode, right? You can look forward to me doing my top 17 films of 2017, because originally I have a video for that, and I had actually recorded the full video, but I think it's too late. It's too late to release the video now. We've just started June, so yeah, too late. But I still kind of wanted to get the list out there. You know what I mean? So it'd be a fun thing to talk about next episode because we don't have enough time this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the episode for you, ladies and gentlemen. Please follow us on Twitter at Tempuncles, and send us some listener emails at tempuncles@gmail.com, because I think it'd be pretty fun. Get some listener emails.
I would appreciate it.
Up in this shizzle, you know.
Well, we like to get correspondence.
It'd be listener emails, and also just fun like topics to give us to talk about in the next episode. It'd be some good stuff.
It gives us something extra to do, and it's just good to hear from the people that listen, because it's affirmation that there's something good.
Yeah, and also like follow us on Twitter, just because it's you get some fun extra content from us, like just little either pictures or jokes or stuff on the Twitter. That's what it's about. And it's also, if you don't follow us on YouTube, it'll give you a little indication on when the next episode will come out. But I don't think this episode will be on iTunes, because I think my Podomatic thing's fucked up, so I can't make any more things in the RSS feed. So I think we should start a Patreon to make a SoundCloud account to put all our podcast episodes on.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking of starting a Patreon for my YouTube channel anyway, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just feel you're sort of weird about asking for money from people.
Well, obviously, you gotta have rewards, so...
Well, what would we do?
Well, it doesn't have to be a we. It's for my channel, so I can have that money go towards a podcast SoundCloud account, but also go towards other things that I need.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But also the rewards would be behind the scenes content or like commissions or something, you know. But anyway, to end the episode, we'll get a funny song.
A funny song?
Or just a song in general. What song are you singing, Ben?
Do Do you recognize it?
No.
What album were we talking about before?
Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
You're an idiot.
Sing Do Comfortably Numb. Is that what you're doing now?
No, this is not Comfortably
Is this
Numb.
Mother again?
No, we never did Mother.
Isn't that what we did at the beginning?
That's not what it's called.
What's it called?
It's called The Thin Ice.
Okay. Which is that what this is
Yes.
now? Ah. Okay, cool.
Mama loves a baby.
Mama loves a baby.
Daddy loves it too.
Daddy loves his mother.
And the sea may look warm to you, babe.
I don't know what he just said.
And the sky may look blue.
At the moment, the sky's a bit orangish.
Ooh. Babe.
Baby. Boss, baby.
Ooh. Babe.
Baby voiced by Alec Baldwin.
You should go skating.
Skating
Boy,
on my
on the
penis.
Dragging behind you the
My
silent
big penis.
many a
Dragging behind you your
Insisting
10
act.
feet long penis.
Don't be surprised
When you see my big thighs.
under your
Penis under your undies.
you slip out of your
Vagina.
time and out of your mind. The fear flowing out behind you.
The fear.
The
Fear of gay people is homophobia. Oh, my anus is bleeding.